Everybody, this is Kyle, and today I'm going to play a song called Double Rainbow. This is a song I wrote somewhere around 2009, I think it was. And it's the first song that I wrote on my current songwriter path, and it's a song I've never performed. Brown eyes can't hide in my sky. You know how much you mean. Perhaps you won't try. Leave me all alone. My soul only bones. Show me double rainbow. Together on the way, always remember the day. KC down 70, stormy weather down at the roadway. White and gray hair, life we'll share. Clung on to you, change everything we care. Don't leave me all alone, my soul only bones. Show every day, scared chosen words away. No worries about the end, except make amends. Even in borrowed voice, you are always my choice. Fragile melody and summon string begin again. Don't leave me all alone, my soul only bones. Show me a double rainbow. Don't leave me all alone, my soul only bones. Show me a double rainbow. So to get started, I want to say that's hard to point when you're not really looking at what you're pointing at. Someone said I should hang up one of my shirts in the background. I was thinking, well, if I'm going to do that, I should wear sometimes someone else's shirt so then I don't feel so awkward, doing, hey, So some of you that do original music, whom I have commented on your videos, I think that's the proper usage of whom. James Tristan Redding hosts a Song a Week group. If you search Song a Week 2020 on Facebook, you can find a group, really cool group where you submit a song a week or whenever you get around to it. So if I've made those comments to you, that's what I'm talking about. So getting in the song Double Rainbow, like I was saying, I think I wrote this around 2009 or so. And I remember when I was coming up with the chords, and at this time I was doing a lot of fingerstyle, a lot of jazz, and this is why I still have fingernails, even though they're much shorter than they used to be for fingerstyle picking. I like the chord movement of the song. It was something I was playing around with, having a couple open strings on guitar. It's kind of descending in chords, but it's kind of not. It has some interesting musical things going on. And I have to admit, it sounds very, very 80s. A lot of 80s songs that were riff heavy. I'm thinking of songs by Sammy Hagar, a bunch of other 80s bands where you're just kind of palm muting an A or E string and banging out pieces of other chords to give some sort of chordal movement with that pedal tone. Looking at the lyrics of the song, when I first wrote it, it was just 2 verses, and it was 2 verses for 2 or 3 years, I think it was. So the first verse is talking about me being Moody Kyle. Why am I so moody? So Moody Kyle was sitting there in his basement looking out the window, thinking of various life things. And so that's what the first verse is about. I'm just writing bad poetry, I guess, right there. And then the chorus, and to be honest, this song is so old. I looked at my Google Doc, and I created the Google Doc in 2010, and I know I wrote the song months before I created the Google Doc for it. The chorus is one of my biggest fears, especially at that time. So the idea that I'm sitting around in my basement all by myself, thinking about my future, being lonely all by myself, you can kind of see Moody Kyle in some description right there. But in the chorus, don't leave me all alone, expressing that fear. My soul only bones. It's like not getting too spiritual or anything, but there's a lot of unknown with faith and things like that. So the idea is like, hey, my soul, the spiritual thing, could just be bones, could just be this organic thing that is here, And show me a double rainbow, which comes to the next verse. The second verse of the song is about going to Kansas City to get my cat. Wake up, little buddy. Yeah, my cat didn't want to wake up. So on a Saturday morning, my wife and I drove to Kansas City. And from St. Louis, that's like around a 4-hour drive, give or take a little bit. It was a rainy day. It was maybe May or something, or end of May, early June, somewhere like that. And Ty was only 2 months old at that time. He's going to be 15 pretty soon, so it's been a while. Driving to Kansas City, it was storming the whole way. We got there and met the breeder's husband, who had a minivan with cats that people were picking up. So I remember when the side of the minivan slid open, I saw Ty hanging on the seat. He was playing. And he was such a sweet cat. I like cats because they're moody. You think that they're your best friend, and then they ignore you. And that temperamental quality is something I just like. I can relate to it. As we're driving back, we had a little tiny pet carrier. My wife had the carrier on her lap, and she opened it up, and he just crawled out and just sat there. It's like, wow, I've never seen a cat that open with new people. And in the lyrics, that idea of clawing onto you, thinking about first time seeing him, how open he was. That was really cool. The third verse for the song, I didn't write till maybe a year or 2 or 3. I forget how long it was exactly without having to look. Hey, Moody Kyle here. I looked and it was 2011 when I recorded this, so it was a couple years after I wrote the song. When I went to record this song, I had a former student of mine, Kyle Oesch, that has very good singing voice. And when he was in college, we connected and would get together and play guitars and things like that. And it was fun for me because I was getting back into guitar at that time. And of course, having a singer, it's always good because at that time I was not even attempting to sing in any way whatsoever. I would barely even talk over a song. So Kyle was going to help out that Kyle do some recording. And as I set everything up for the song, I realized it was barely 2 minutes. And I thought it needs to be a little bit longer. So I very quickly wrote this third verse. And it's more of moody Kyle-ness, but it takes the idea of the story and propels it. It's accurate. Since this was the first song I'd written, I really had zero intention of having a story with a conflict and a resolution. like a typical story structure or anything really. I was just writing, like I joked before, bad poetry. So I'm literally sitting in my basement by myself, thinking about being by myself, so I was writing about it in a somewhat poetic way. Went and picked up a cat. Doesn't really match up sitting alone in your basement, but second verse about a cat. So the third verse was trying to marry those two ideas. And so the idea of the first verse, if I were to summarize, I'd say it's about worries. The second verse is about finding hope in things. And I do need to mention a double rainbow. And the third verse is about moving all that forward. And the idea of, I'm looking at the last line of the third verse, summon strength, begin again. The idea that, every day or whatever time period that you have those moments of strength and weakness, start over, start again. Just refill that battery, recharge, and that's not a bad thing. Now, going to the double rainbow in the chorus again. Don't leave me all alone, my soul only bones, show me a double rainbow. When we were coming back from Kansas City, since it was storming all the way there, on the way back we kept seeing double rainbows, which was really cool. And it, strangely enough, is around the time of the internet meme or whatever it was, double rainbows. That was like right after this. And when I wrote the song, I had no idea about that being a thing. But since getting our cat, anytime see a double rainbow or have a mention of a double rainbow, it's thinking of that whole time. And what a cool thing that was, because we're driving back after driving 4 hours in stormy conditions. Driving back, it's not storming anymore. The sun is out. You got double rainbows. You got all this extra hope and stuff. Had this new cat he's the coolest cat ever. So you think your cat's cool. I'll do the Pepsi challenge any day with my cat versus your cat. Take that, internet. See, he's still sleeping. Life of a cat, right? So thanks again for hanging out and listening to me talk about the first song that I wrote, and I have some ideas for some other videos kind of similar. I have some things that I wrote in college and recorded back in my punk rock days. Yes, punk rock days. It's very short and angry, kind of like me, maybe. As always, if you see something creative online, make sure you like, follow, subscribe, comment, do all those things, and I'll see you next time.